4th of July, Independence Day, celebrating our independence from the sovereign nation of England, Great Britain. However, those fortunate enough to get their independence, they enslaved a lot of other people to do all of the work. So let's keep that in mind too. But we're here to talk about music. This is See You at the Crib. We're at the crib. And normally we have young musicians here. There's a couple of cats here. But I find it more interesting to talk because people aren't listening to any playing. And definitely very little playing of a higher quality. I wonder why that is. There are many reasons why that is. I just watched a video I have not seen in 25 years of the great King Cox speaking on education, music education, and where it is. And what he said, this was in 1988. And what he said in 1988 holds true today. It's very unfortunate. The lack of practitioners in institutions of higher learning that sell the idea of jazz education. So it holds true today. And the format in which the music is taught, we don't even get into that. We'll just keep it really basic and simple, just on the fact that there are practitioners that have a wealth of knowledge to offer and really educate people about the music. And ultimately, the true education comes from the doing. It's like trying to have somebody play basketball and you can write papers on them playing basketball. However, they never actually really have to pick up a basketball and work on their game. So if that's what we're talking about, then I guess I could be qualified to be in the NBA. If I have to just write papers, pass the quizzes on like the trajectory of where my jump shot should be at in the sky, but not actually having to do it. Anyway, I digress. I got some youngins here. They're not that young. They're old enough to know. However, they are of the younger variety, less experienced, but they're working on that. Just keep living. So they will chime in here and there to, flavor the conversation, direct it.
If you ask questions.
Yeah, so they will ask questions and maybe present some viewpoints of their generation.
And if they have questions, they can ask questions.
Oh yeah, the people, y'all out there in virtual world, feel free to ask any questions you may have while we're live. And if you leave them after we're not live and you watch this later, put them in the comments. And maybe there's an answer or solution. I'm always solution oriented. So no matter how much I rant, or no matter how much is said in reference to the problem, if you can't address the problem, you definitely can't come up with a solution. However, I'm all for solutions. It's unfortunate that watching this piece on the great King Cox, ancestor, unbelievable composer, arranger, it's pretty sad to say that the stuff that he was talking about, what is that, 30 years ago? Almost 30 years ago? Yeah, over 30 years ago. I mean, it's still happening today. And look at the non-music scene that's out here. So a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is not like new or revolutionary. However, people aren't saying it. And that's actually what is revolutionary now. This is known information, however, no one talks about it. So we're talking about it. You dig? Put some Papa's cooking on it. Papa's cooking. And Mama's cooking too. You dig?
Called the ballet or something.
Oh yeah, we recently premiered a ballet with Ballet X in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was, how can I say, it was spearheaded, and the idea of this project came about via longtime big sister, collaborator, amazing choreographer, poet, and dancer of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater for 20 plus years at least. She's super bad with 2 D's. And I'm speaking of the one and only Hope Boykin. So we premiered a piece. It's entitled "In the Distance." So, I mean, I'll talk. First, the dancers are amazing. You have to see it. So whenever it's near you or Ballet X is performing this work, please check it out. Another great work by Dwight Roden, also world premiered on the same program. That was pretty impressive and amazing. He's the founder or co-founder of Complexions Dance Company based in New York City. So you could definitely check them out. Super amazing works. And for us, the piece that I did with Hope Boykin, she and I, this is our 5th collaboration. So, and everyone is different. But I'll speak a little bit to this work. Because of this pandemic, you know, I didn't have access to a lot of musicians. So, and time and like how it all came about. So all of the music, I generally try to compose music that can be played by musicians. Like that's something that was always important to me, that real people play the music, because the lifeblood of music is in people actually creating the sound. There's an energy and electricity and spirituality that comes when people are actually playing, that is created with multiple people playing together in accord or union. So I didn't have that at my disposal this particular time, due to time and resources and all of those types of things. So I composed all of the music like part by part. So I played, and it's all percussion for the most part, minus 1 bass solo. So the idea of the piece was to use different like pairings and different concepts. So one piece was based in metal. I just used all metal sounds. So a washboard with a metal scraper. Sometimes, you know, use buckshots. My boy Dirty Red, Mr. Ricky Gordon, Dirty Red, I used one of his washboards on that. You know, cowbells, bells, jingles from a tambour, jingles from a rick, triangle, like all kind of metal sounds. So that is that was one of the movements of the pieces. One movement of the piece was I call it Ajax conversations. When, you know, you're talking, it's like call and response, but you're talking to yourself, man, should I do this? Like your others, like having a little voice like on your shoulder. And you're like, man, should I go down here? The voice says, yeah, man, why not? Go down there. And then you just go back and forth. And then you might end up talking to the other voice on the other side, your other shoulder, and then you guys get into an argument. It's like, go there. No. And you'd be like, why not? No. So you start having this dialogue where it's crazy. So one is kind of civilized and one is crazy. So one piece is like that. It starts civilized and then it just goes off, you know, off the rails. Another movement is called Samba Katu, which is kind of embodies the whole piece being in the distance. So this is like a little chant. It starts with dee dee doo doo dee, dee dee doo doo dee. And that's the whole riff of the tune. And I use, you know, the maracatu rhythm and samba style. So that's why I call it Samba Katu. What else did I write for that? Oh, there's one piece that's called Big Drum, where I use real big drums like kettle drums or timpani, koto drums, earth drums, like big sounds. So that's another piece. What else did I do? Oh, then there's a piece in 7. It's like in 2 sevens at the same time. So it's in 7/4 and then 7/8, and then it goes to 4. And then it goes back to the 7/4, 7/8, and it goes back to 4.
How are they counting it?
They counted it. The dancers, they don't like counting in odd meters, so they counted in 8 and 6. So like in the fast meter, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 like that. I like to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, like simple. I like to make everything simple, digestible. That's it. You did.
But you actually count it, or you just feel it when you're playing?
I just use 7, but you feel it. I don't like to, like, if you have to count music, then you're not feeling it. And if you have to think about it that hard, then there's something up with it. I mean, I spent some time with Steve Coleman, and he has a very interesting concept. He has concepts, but one particular concept is, things are like they operate in cycles. So everyone has like a cell in a cycle, and they overlap at a certain points, like these ellipticals, and like a Venn diagram type. So your thing will intersect with someone else's thing at a certain point, and so on and so forth. So that's very interesting. However, you have to stay focused on where you are, and you start venturing off, and you could get lost. You be lost in the sauce.
Someone asked, do you know how to dance?
Someone asked if I know how to dance. If you can't dance and you play drums, there's a big problem. So I feel like anyone that's a musician should be able to dance. And then how funky are you when you dance? You could just go like this, be grooving, just a little bit, little shimmy, be like, oh yeah. Sometimes I like dancers that dance like there's minimal movement, but very flavorful. You know what I'm saying?
And they ask if you can do a video on the space in jazz music.
Oh, someone asked about me doing a video on space. Yeah, we'll definitely do a video on space. A lot of times that's where I'm trying to move my playing to, is actually just play mostly space and just put the stuff in the right spots. That's what the masters do. Masters just put things in the right places, but leave a lot of spaces.
Yeah.
You dig? So you see me at the crib.
Yeah. How do you whittle down? Got a lot of information coming in. How do you whittle down what you need to practice? What do you work on? How do you know?
Well, as a beginner, like so the question is, what do you work on when you practice? And how do you narrow that down? Because it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of things to work on, a lot of things to practice. I always say fundamentals, and that's not the answer people want to hear. I have one couple, y'all are, I guess, people closer to the beginning of their journey in learning how to play. I don't like using the word student. We're all students. It's like how you use, the word, but everyone's on a journey, and in the beginning of your journey, you have less experience on any journey. You just have less experience. Definitely consistency and repetition. So after we watched the Ken Cox segment, we watched one with the ancestor, one of a kind, Donald Walden, who both of them I spent a lot of time with as a youngster, as a young person, as a kid, and as a young musician. So Professor Walden went into repetition and how playing music or what you work on is like a language. So how many times do you say good morning? How many different ways can you say good morning? Huh? Infinite. And you know how certain people, like, when you really know how to say good morning, you know, you learn other ways other people say good morning. So one that I always love, s'morning. You know, good morning, or buenas, or, you know, ohayo gozaimasu, or, you know, buongiorno, you know, bonjour, you know. You dig? Or it could be like, what up? Top of the morning. People like, yes, good day, sir. That's good morning. You know? You dig? So the more you practice doing one thing, the better you get at it, and more your personality you can infuse your personality into that. Because you can only be you. Like there's a conception, like some people always are studying other people, and you study other people to actually discover who you are. Does that make any sense? It's like your parents. You know, you spend most of your formative years around your parents, your mom and your dad, and you get an identity of what female energy is and what male energy is. Yeah? No? Yeah. So if your mom is like gangster, like, get your ass in there and clean up your room, and, you know, if she's hardcore and that person, like that's a very like aggressive female energy, right? Personality, but still it's a feminine energy, but turned up. And your dad could be the opposite. He could just be, yeah, son, you know, you might want to think about taking care of some things in your room. It's real laid back and chill, yet it's still a masculine energy, aesthetic. And you can flip them all kind of different ways you want. However, there's a balance of the two. So personality and energy are two different things. And I think that's important to recognize. So when you form your idea about, like, you know, like how you develop and how you work on things, you could be very studious and rigid about, let's say, like technical things, like how you approach your instrument. If we're talking about drums, like, you know, rudiments, like practicing really slow and very clean and efficient. Like, you know, how do you play very efficient? And you worry about sound. And a lot of times people don't talk about this a lot, like developing a sound on your instrument. So those two things, without me giving a whole master class for free, which there is a course coming. So y'all be ready. It's coming. Mama and Papa's cooking. The community's cooking. That's me. I'm a product of the community. We got the community's cooking. So there's a course coming soon. We'll talk about that. Two primary things. Rudiments or hands or technical studies. So if you play a horn, it's like, do I know my scales? And what is my sound? Those two things, sound and scales. If you start really talking about language and learning ancestral music, American ancestral music, you start learning tunes. And this is a way that people don't really learn now. They learn a lot of etudes. They will touch on tunes and repertoire. But if you really learn tunes from certain eras, there's a lot of like learning blues, learning rhythm changes, learning 32-bar form songs, and learning the melodies and really learning them, learning the lyrics. Then that helps you to learn actually the language and the kind of construct of how the music works. If you focus on that, you're going to be all right, generally. Then you start to develop language or different personalities and styles of how people play. But just learning melodies and how to play melodies. Everybody wants to be an improviser, but no one wants to like do basic stuff. It's like playing football. like American football. Like everybody wants to be a quarterback. Everyone wants to be a wide receiver. Everyone wants to be, let's say, a middle linebacker, like, you know, the hot, like cool positions or whatever. The one thing in football that you definitely, number one, is you must be able to run and you must be able to block or give a tackle, like block and tackle. Like, I don't care what position you have, but you got to be able to do that. So, you know, those are things that are super important, like, or basketball. You got to be able to run or be in shape. Like, I don't care, you can have great skills, but if you're not in shape, it's like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So being fit, being in shape. Shoot, there's guys in the NBA right now have like no skills. They just big as hell and in shape. So that's like 85% of the situation. So that answers your question. I know it's a long answer, but basics. That's the answer no one wants to hear. They want to hear some like fireworks, Neil Peart answer.
So, Donald Wallen mentioned if you want to reach the higher level of playing, you need to dedicate anywhere from 2 to 4 years of practicing at least 8 hours a day. Can you break that down? What does that look like, and how do you even accomplish that in today's environment, today's world?
Do I need to repeat that?
Yeah.
So the question is, based on Donald Walden's statement, is saying that for at least 2 years of your life, you need to practice anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day, like every day, basically. Let's say you get 1 day off, so 6 days a week. First off, do I agree with that? And secondly, how would one pursue doing that in this current time, in 2021, July 7th, 2021? Anyway, that's July 7th, 2021, if you go with the Western calendar and you're in the whatever time zone this is. Because, hey, people have multiple realities. That's partly why I'm doing this video, because people don't believe in learning how to play. Anyway, do I agree with practicing 4 to 8 hours a day? Number one, yes. And it's probably more beneficial the earlier you start. So the younger you are, it's like language. If you start learning a second language or a third language at like 3, 4 years old, I mean, it's just easier. It's ingrained. You don't think about it. And I think a lot of times, and what Donald Wallen also was saying in his segment, is that you can't think about playing music. You're just responding to what's going on musically, but it requires many hours of you having mastery of the language, like saying good morning. You know, it's not even an instance. Like you can you know the good morning is coming before you even said it, and you know what kind of good morning you're gonna do. It's like you're already flavoring the whole. You already got a whole thing, like a direction, an idea of how things are gonna go. So first, Donald Walden is correct about practicing 4 to 8 hours a day for 2 years. Next, how would someone accomplish that in 2021? Because one of our guests this evening was like, man, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. How do I eat? How am I gonna take care of myself? Or, you know, I can't afford to just practice 4 to 8 hours a day. And that's, I hear that. That's very real. It's just real. That's true. That's a true statement. How would one do that in this current climate or this current time? I will say this. First, playing music is a lifestyle. It's not like a job. It's not some clock punch thing like, oh, I'm going to do this. You can approach it like a job, and a lot of people that are very successful, they approach it like a job. However, it's more of a lifestyle. And that lifestyle includes just humanity. There's ups, there's downs, there's, having fun, there's hanging out, there's all of that. But the music is always at the forefront of all of that. And that means a lot of time and dedication goes into you learning not only your instrument, but learning other music and your ability to adapt into musical situations. However, in this climate, that is not even on the table now. No one is even listening that deep or having a demand for that level of musicianship. So in this current climate, what I would say is that you need to play with people. This is the thing that's really deficient in music education and just the music scene, or what is left of a music scene. I don't even think there is really a music scene anymore. There's pockets of people that may play together on a regular basis, or a pool of people, but there's no real scene. And there's no real hierarchy. Like in everything, there's a hierarchy. You're just not gonna walk up and start playing with, Ron Carter. I mean, maybe now if you got enough money. And that's just what happens. People just, they don't care anymore. But to be on that musical level, you just don't get there. You're just not gonna just pop up and get there. It requires work and time. So if you're seeking a high level of playing, you must be around people that are of a high level playing. And how would you know who is of a high level playing? Now, right? So do you want me to expand on this, or?
Sure. Yeah.
People of a high level or caliber of playing generally is represented by their knowledge of vocabulary, their taste. And taste is a very tricky thing now. Sweets Edison talked to me about taste and like choices about, why he played on many records with Frank Sinatra, because he played with a certain level of taste. And what is taste? It's just like how we get dressed. Like this is real raggedy taste right now, and I'm advertising this company. Hopefully I'll get some credit. I don't know. Yeah, not likes. Yeah, likes. Oh my God. Yeah, this is truly, this is truly outreach. Do you want someone to respect your musicianship, or do you just want to get along or go along or get along? Like, there's a lot of times I see people that are playing and it's not really about their musicianship. It's just like they're cool or they're friends with other people, and it's not about their musicianship. I've hired people for bands of mine that I didn't really like them, but they were serious. Like, they were about playing. I gave them the music, they learned the music, they showed up on time, they hooked it up. They said, do you want to play like this or that? Outside of that, I had no real conversation with them. We didn't hang out. We not boys. We not homies. Now, I've had other people that are friends of mine, but also they are of a high musical standard. I generally try to hire the best people for the job. And sometimes I hire people that I think have potential to be good, that are serious. So those are two different things. Oftentimes I think good bands are first older people that have experience, or if you're a young cat, always try to hire older people with more experience that can play. But the taste piece is very tricky nowadays because it's based on what you're exposed to. It's like if we sat here and talked about taste, like if I was talking to like 12-year-olds or freshmen in high school about like their food choices, like what's their favorite restaurant. It'd probably be like all the fast food restaurants, right or wrong. Or college students, it might be similar only because of budget.
Dollar pizza.
Yeah, they'd be like, this is the best food I can get that's killing for what I can afford. Like, yeah, I would love to eat at, Nobu or, what's it, Masa In New York, it's like some high-end sushi place, like $700 a person.
Oh.
Yeah, so don't ask me. I have a story about that too. It's a lens and reference. And so now I think in our society, their younger people are given this, they're being sold younger and younger. Like, this is the cool thing, this is the cool thing, check this out, check this thing out. So as far as them thinking that they know about stuff, they know what they've been exposed to, but it doesn't mean it's the real stuff. Does that make any sense? Like, you could be exposed to something, but if somebody says, oh yeah, you know, let me give a good example. The fastest car is the Kia. The Kia Sportage is the coolest car. It's the fastest car because it come in this color and that color and that color. And if that's all you know, and if that's all that is exposed to you, then you're gonna think that. That's what you're gonna think. You know? So it has no real merit, but that's what's being sold and that's what's being advertised. So they can falsely advertise or misleading advertisement. Misleading. Not that it's facts, not that it's, you know, completely untrue, but it's misleading. So with playing music, because the bar might be lower for you or the bar is not put on a certain level, you'll think you're doing good, but in actuality, you're not, because, you know, you're playing on a curve. And like, to really play the music, you have to apprentice and you have to do a lot of playing. Like, less academic work and a lot more playing with people of a higher standard. I always ask, you know, you could apply this to anything. If you were at the lab every day with scientists and you were like, okay, in science or whatever, if you were in a lab with people that were not bullshitting like every day, guarantee you a year doing that in the lab every day, would you be good in science?
For sure. Yeah.
Like, even, huh?
You might not be recognized. You might not get any opportunities.
That is the opportunity to go to the lab.
Say that again?
That's the opportunity to go to the lab.
Yeah, the opportunity is being in the lab, if that's what you want to do. Now check this out. You cannot really want to do it and be half-hearted in doing it, but being around people that are on a very high level, you might be better than other people that are serious about doing it because you're in a higher level of an environment. The environment is higher.
Where were you throwing yourself into the deep end, or like where were you surrounding yourself, or how were you surrounding yourself with better musicians?
How? You find out who the best musicians are based on a criteria of taste. And so what is a criteria of taste? I'll give you one, since if you guys don't have one. People who've played with other people that are great or deemed great. And what is great? Okay, their body of work, the consistency of their body of work. And if we get more specific, like language, jazz vocabulary. So if cats play bebop, bebop is one of the most difficult languages to execute in the world, period. So people who have that as a foundation of their language, people that know lots of music, that have demonstrated playing lots of music or lots of styles of music, people that have demonstrated, you know, a unique style and approach to playing that's consistent. I don't mean just be like, oh, we're just gonna play all of this crazy wild odd meter stuff and that's all we do. That's one way of playing. Like, I love cats, they put out records and it's like no ballads on the record at all. Because if they actually played a ballad, you would discover like, y'all are sad. This is not something I want to listen to. People that play music that makes you want to listen to it over and over again, not necessarily for a cerebral reason, or like, wow, this is so complicated, it's cool, like it's a puzzle, like it's some like ephemeral Sudoku, or it's like, damn, what was that? it's like because it makes you feel something. And the simpler and the more transparent the music is, and it makes you feel something, that music is very powerful. If someone can play one long note with a beautiful just sound, and there's something in that sound, that's powerful. That's power. That's something new. I've often talked about this with different musicians. The new thing can be in your sound. The new thing doesn't have to be some trick or some gimmick. It's like with drums. The new thing can be in the sound of that you produce on the instrument and its clarity. Like, that's new. I hear that all the time when people like, oh man, well, yeah, you know, that's great. It's just real simple. It's like, man, there's a lot to be said to be simple and to convey an idea. That's called refinement, where you can refine what it is that you're doing on a level that is still potent, however, it's not cluttered and it's very succinct. That's what striving, like trying to get higher and higher, like remove all the nonsense and get right to the things that are of importance or that are soul-filled. Well, oh yeah, speaking of that, if you bout it, you'll be here. If you're trying to be bout it, I might see you here, or you should be here. And if you're not about it, you probably are not and won't be.
All the videos.
Yeah, I know. So we started doing a new series. It's called Bout It. So like about it, be about it, who's about it, like heavyweight bout. And this series basically features and highlights those, first starting with the eldest, legendary musicians that are still living, that are underappreciated in our society and underappreciated in the music world, underappreciated, period. They have huge bodies of work and they've made great strides in their artistry and have influenced the music scene out here. So the series is really short format video series. We give a basic brief profile about why they're about it, and then we bring on guests and people that have had personal experiences with them or working experiences with them to share some stories about their experience and who they are as people. So this is it's been really fun to work on this, and I just feel it's much needed. I mean, there's so many great musicians that youngins, and I say those are people under 30, have no clue of who some of these people are. However, they're trying to pursue this music, and they might not discover them just by fact that social media, the internet, has not cataloged their body of work well, or it's just undiscovered, or it's not promoted. So this is our attempt at sharing their great artistry in a bite-sized type of segment to kind of illuminate and give homage to their life's work and to their artistry. That's it.
And how's it going?
Oh, so the question is, how's it going? Interesting enough, no one seems to, it's not, I'm not surprised. It's not going viral or anything. It's not like people are like, oh my God, Benny Golson, wow, he's a genius. Like, people aren't doing that. They should be, but people aren't. So we hope that people will get into the series over time. We're creating the content. So
Each Friday.
yeah, every new episode comes out each Friday. We release one every Friday. So in the first season there's 7, and then we're working on season 2. So if you know somebody who's a musician or not a musician, like, these people are American icons, really. they are. Share it with them. Check out the series. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Yes, I like it. No, it was sad. All of that is good. And, you know, we just, you know, it's good to create a narrative and a community around people actually having some care about artistry and some care about musicianship. So that's where we are. On another note, I talked to one of my mentors, the great Buster Williams, who watched all of them in one sitting. And he's featured in one of them. He watched all of them and was like, man, this is amazing and this is incredible. And I'm like so elated to be a part of it and be on it. And he also shared that everyone on there deserves a serious award, because that's the award that we give these. We're trying to select one winner or two finalists of every season to award them and to get them a cash prize. And that's still the idea and the concept, because they obviously are deserving of it. Ironically, most of them don't want to vote because they have so much respect for each other, for all of the people that are being featured. And that just shows the level of humility and artistry that all of these great musicians have. So it's my honor and pleasure to do it. We'll figure out something on how to.
Someone ironically asked, "Where's the link?"
Oh, the link for About It?
Yeah, where would it be?
In the description.
Or
Or on my Instagram, my link in the bio on my Instagram, or you could just go to Ali Jackson on YouTube and you could check out all of the content we've been creating and putting out there. And brother Corey Wilcox, true young soldier out here holding it down. He comes from royal stock, and I love him. So many of the cats on the scene love him, and he's holding up the tradition high, and he's resounding on that God's trombone.
anything else?
I don't know. Anything else?
Yeah,
We need-
I got a question. So if I got a ton of basics to work on, should I just drop any transcriptions that I might want to do until?
Okay, so the question is, if you have a lot of fundamentals to work on, do you drop transcribing? And my answer to you is this: sometimes transcribing will force you to have to work on some of your fundamentals. However, it just depends on which part of the spectrum you're on. Like, do you have enough fundamentals to be able to tackle learning a transcription? And the other thing about transcribing is this: a lot of people transcribe notes, but they don't transcribe the feeling. And so if you're not transcribing the feeling, you just might as well don't transcribe.
Like, remember that Jewish People of Uganda record
Yes.
that you said you can transcribe this and it won't mean anything?
Yeah, there was, we're listening to the native traditional Jewish music from Uganda, and the music is pretty simple. However, the feeling is so rich. I mean, you could write it out on paper, but good luck on trying to sound like how they sound singing it. I mean, and that's the same with swinging. You could play ting, tinka, ting, tinka, ting, but to make that feel good and make it, you know, make it mean something and get inside of the music and be in time with everyone else where they feel that pulse that you give them and they latch on to you, that's a whole different, it's a whole different thing. So you can technically do it. I've said this in 1,000 master classes, workshops, whatever you call them. I'm tired of master class, because people say they do master classes. I said, but what's masterful about the level of the playing? Like, some people are legitimate masters of what they're doing, but a master class is reserved for those who are masterful and have demonstrated masterful achievement in what they do. So it's used too lightly now with this master class stuff. You know, a clinic, okay, you shared some information, but, you know, generally being a master is more about a concept than it is anything technical. It's the way you think about it. So if you can't get your mind in the right space, it doesn't matter. Before you practice or pick up anything, you have to be in a mental space to be able to do whatever it is you're doing. Now, it doesn't mean that you can get rid of the actual physical act of practice. Because when you're developing, when you're young, you need the muscle memory and the development of the physical aspect along with the mental. However, if you don't have the mental, you damn sure ain't gonna have no physical. I mean, you can look at it now, all over the airwaves, you know, people playing piles and piles of stuff, and it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, what do you take from it? It's like, wow, like fireworks. It's like we could just go off like wild cowboys and get some horses and shoot guns up in the air around that. It's like the same thing of what people do on YouTube with music, or so-called music, with sound. Yes, sir.
Currently or in the past, what puts you in the right mental place before you approach the instrument?
Oh, you said regardless of sound?
Like talk. Yeah, I don't know. Just what puts you in the right mental place?
Okay.
How do you know when you're in the right mental place?
Yeah. So the question is, how do you know you're in the right mental place to work on music?
Well,
Or-
it could be how do you know, but there's
Or
there are a lot of answers for that. But what have you, like? Do you have like a kind of specific criteria? Like, I get up at 6 and then I like power like through. I don't know.
oh, so you should mean like the mindset for practice or the mindset for working on music. What is that?
Yeah.
So the question is, what is the mindset for practicing, and what is the mindset for working on music? What is the mindset for being in a creative musical space?
That. Or any of it.
Yeah, or any of the above. Yeah, they're all a little different, and all of it is the same. So if you have a daily regimen of like, I'm working on this thing, like what I did in the past, let's say in you guys' age, I'd work on a concept. Like, and this could be real simple. Let's say I'm gonna work on paradiddles, like for drums, which is like a scale or for the drums. And I said, okay, I'm gonna take a paradiddle and I'm gonna play them slowly. Like simple, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, or right, left, right, left, left. So that concept, slowly, you could stay, okay, now I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna work it around the drum kit. So you could see this very simple. However, it could be, I could go on and on and on of how I would take a paradiddle and practice it and use it in lots of different ways. So it's basically like a little cell, but it's like how many different creative ways can you use that? So the mindset is, I'm taking this one simple idea and I'm going to explore how many different ways can I use this. That is one mindset. And I'm going to do that every day at 6 a.m. I'm going to get up and at 6 a.m., I'm going to work on this paradiddle from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. For 30 minutes. I'm going to work on that and I'm going to explore what that is. That is something. And then I'm going to do that every day for 5 days this week. That's what time I have. From 6 to 6:30, I'm going to work on this paradiddle. You'll watch and see how much you will develop just with that idea, that concept. And then the things that I discover or that I learn, I'm going to write it down. That is one approach. Now, there's many other approaches. I'm going to play time. I need to work on my time. So working on your time means at 60 BPM on the saxophone, I'm going to play all of my major scales on the saxophone, 2 octaves at 60 BPM.
Eighth notes or quarter notes?
Huh?
Quarter notes or eighth notes?
Whole notes.
Whole notes. I think it's tones.
And I'm going to make my sound, or I'm going to put vibrato in my sound in eighth notes or 16th notes, or I'm going to slur them, or oscillate them in eighth notes. And I'm going to do that every day. No time. I might do it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I might do it at 7 p.m. at night. I might do it at 8 in the morning. But I'm going to do that. And let's say I do six of the scales at one time. And then the next day I do the other 6. And I practice that exercise. And there's a million ways you could do that. And I'm going to do that for 2 weeks. Or I'm going to do that, I'll say 2 weeks. And then the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do all my minor scales like that at 60 BPM. And then the next month, I'll do all my major scales, but then now I'm going to do them at 100 BPM. You dig what I'm saying? That's just technical work. And you can apply that same thing to the drum kit with grooves. I gave you guys a demonstration on that.
Demonstration, yeah.
So that is the level that is setting a precedent and a level and consistency. And if you do that, what you will realize is that you start to get exponentially better. It's like lifting weights. It's like you working on your tennis swing and you get a good coach and they tell you this is the technique for doing it, and then it's the repetition from doing it. So if you build those things from a technical standpoint, when it comes to you actually playing your horn, you don't have any difficulty. You know your instrument. Then you start to know where all the weak points of your instrument are, the strengths of your instrument. And this is the same with drums. Like why people don't have good sounds on an instrument, because they don't work on... First off, they don't play slow. That's number one. If you play slow, you're forced to work on your sound and to control the instrument, and you gradually speed things up. It's like anything. Like as a baby, you don't start talking like, yo, man, what's up going on? My mom, give me some more milk. I'm thirsty. You know, dad, play ball with me, bro. What's up? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, I'm trying to get there to change my diaper, bro. What's up? What's you taking too long? You don't come... You're not talking like that. You're like, eh.
Need to wait a few years.
That's it. That's all I got. Is the humanity in music getting lost? I mean, y'all could... Whoever's watching this, you already know it is. That's why you all watching this. Hell yeah, the humanity is lost. I mean, what are we talking about out here? I mean, I feel you. That's a great question, obviously. I mean, it's sad on what's going on out here. I mean, I want to get like super political and racially charged because it's already out here. Race is at the crux of why stuff is kind of messed up right now. And I have a solution for that. For those who gain the most from slavery, those are who should give back the most, or most of their stuff should be taken away. And it's unfortunate if your family sold slaves or had slave labor and did that. That's messed up. It's not personal to you. However, you've greatly benefited from that. It's just what it is. It's not like some revolutionary idea. It's just what it is. But the problem is people don't want to give up anything.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's like with music. I talked with one of the world's great dancers, choreographers, rehearsal directors, and he saw the last See You at the Gig on education, and he was just like, man, all of that is the same stuff that's going on in dance. So people can just make up movements like, I'm a new choreographer, check this out. That's a new move, you know what I'm saying? You should check my stuff out. It doesn't matter. So if you can get away with not swinging, not practicing your scales at 60 BPM and having a good sound, and you can get up there and you can play whatever you want and put a tag on it and label it whatever, this is new, and you have an audience that's ignorant, I mean, then what are we talking about? This has been talked about for a long time. However, we've moved into a whole new age. It's like it's exploded to a certain level. And that's not to say that there's certain people, you know, younger musicians or younger generation that aren't serious and want to get this information and are willing to learn and to develop and carry on formidable traditions. It's just to say that, you know, anything goes. If you can market, like the degree should be in marketing, not music. You don't need a music degree. I mean, that's basically what it's saying. Like, it means nothing. If you know how to market, then you actually have a career. It doesn't mean it's grounded or has any real value. It just means that you know how to market. I mean, and that's what's going on out here. People are marketing. And you have an audience that's stupid, so they'll just go for whatever it is they're sold. It's like if you could put doo-doo in a box and you make the box nice, people will buy doo-doo all day. You make it a nice, cool box. Louis Vuitton wrapping. That's just where we at. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for checking us out. As always, see you at the gig.
Check the link in the bio.
Check the link in the bio. Subscribe, like, hate, don't like. Put your own videos out. We'll comment on them. Oh yeah, On the Record is coming out. If you got any good recordings that are worthy of checking out, please share them with us. And yeah, keep grooving, keep vibing, keep the spirits up high. Until the